Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm here finally for the review of the Kaweco Piston Filler Sport, and this is the Aluminium version. It's the only version that exists right now. So let's see what I have to tell you about this. This pen is not, by the time I'm recording this is not yet released. It will be released in a few hours. So I'll try to post this tonight, and I think maybe this will go live maybe 5 or 4, I don't know, hours before it is officially released. So the name of this pen is the Kaweco Piston Sport Aluminium Black. That's the official name of this pen, and it is a pen that was asked a lot by Kaweco collectors and users. We want a piston filler sport. And so after many years, here we have it. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Kaweco for sending me this pen for review, and let's see this. I've shown you this on the unboxing, but I will show it again. So we have a cardboard kind of outer sleeve with a round cut out, and there is some little decorations embossed. On the other side it has some text, and it says some information about the pen, and says that the ink capacity of the pen is the same of an ink cartridge. Now we will open this, and we can extract this tin. It is a metal tin in a similar design to the other rectangular tins, but different shape for a different pen. This same kind of scroll work that we can see on the other things, on the other tins, and maybe also in the cartridge packages and so on. And we have here, this is also, it's not flat, I think you can see it. Now let me open the box like this, and inside the box you have let me take this out. You have an ink bottle of the usual Kaweco Royal Blue ink. That is the one that comes inside the pens. Usually, sometimes it's another ink, but most of the times in the regular editions, this is the ink in cartridges that comes inside the Kaweco Sport pens, the cartridge pens. And so it has a slot here, and then we have the pen here. I'll take the box away and show it to you. This, by the way, let me just talk about that. This is the starter kit. So you have the pen and the ink. You can start writing right away. So, things that I want to talk about this pen. This pen costs around 173 euros. It depends on the store, on the country you're in. For example, in Portugal we have, our taxes are 23% if you don't have any taxes. So it may, the value may not be always, the cost may be different in different places. But let's think about 173 euros. And what do you get with 173 euros? So we have all this stuff, but we get a pen that is a kind of a regular in shape. It's similar to a Kaweco Sport, a regular Kaweco Sport, but it has the fixed clip. As I showed on the other video, you can take this away if you don't like the clip, but then you'll see a little gap there where this ring is. So the clip, it has this shape of the traditional, the nostalgia clip. It has the top of the cap with a gold colored logo, gold colored clip. On one of the facets in 90 degrees from the clip we have Kaweco Sport kind of engraved and filled with black paint. That's how it looks. It is made of aluminium, the cap is octagonal as in any other Kaweco Sport pen. It has this matte finish and the pen unscrews to access the nib. So let's see, one turn, a half, and maybe one turn and 3/4 of a turn to take this out. And when you have the pen like this, you have a cylinder, you have a little ring, and you have this end part. In this cylinder, which is metal, there is a acrylic part which is transparent, where you can see the ink level. Because the pen is full, I don't think you will be able to see the ink level there, but it's almost full of ink. Then you have threads between the barrel and the section. The section has a slight hourglass shape, and then you have a number 5 nib. You can see here, this one is a fine, and it is also a steel nib, gold plated, with kind of a regular Kaweco Sport focus, sport feed. In this way, it seems like the feed is too long or misaligned, but it's not. It's just the perspective from the camera because I'm looking at it. So this is how it comes. You take this part out, be careful not to lose it, and then you have the piston filling knob, the turning knob. So it is behind this little blind cap, and this is it. This is the pen. So if you are already a user or a collector of Kaweco Sport, you can understand easily how this works. Now let's just go for some stuff about the design. The design is very simple, very classy. I really like it. And I really like it because it is a pen that is inspired in my favorite Kaweco Sport model, which is this one. It is almost the same. This is the Kaweco Sport Lux. The kind of engraving is different, and this is a resin pen instead of a metal pen, and it is a cartridge pen instead of a piston filler pen. But you have the same nib, the same clip, the same little band around the top. Everything is very, very similar. So this one is heavier because it is made of aluminium. And now for a little comparison, I have here also the Kaweco AL Sport Black, which is a black pen with white engraving and chrome fitting. And let's address, this was about design and finish. The finish on this one is the same, or at least to my eyes it looks the same in both pens. But what I want to tell you is that the weight of this pen is 23 grams. And these 23 grams are exactly, or I cannot say exactly, are the same in the scale I have at home, my kitchen scale. It is the same as this pen and this removable clip. So you have exactly the same writing experience that you get in this one. Another consideration, price. This pen costs around 173 euros. This one costs around half that price. And now we may say that this is maybe too expensive. We'll have to look that the material is the same, but you have much more parts, because just on the outside, here you have a blind cap, you have a ring, you have a clip, and you have this top part, and okay, the logo there is the same, so it doesn't matter, but you see you have more parts just on the outside. Then when you unscrew it, in this case you see you need it to make a plastic or resin ink window. This one doesn't have that, so it's in a simpler construction. This one has a blind cap that beneath it has the piston system with another Kaweco logo there, and this is made of plastic, this is made of metal, so it gets in there, and inside you have kind of plastic, how can I say, inner chamber that allows this pen to be made of metal and have ink inside, and then you have to have some O-rings there beneath the nib section. So the construction is more complex. I think it's more time consuming to put that all together, and so it is more expensive. So 173 euros, is that inexpensive? I don't think so. Is that too expensive? I also don't think so, because you don't get that many pens, piston filler pens from Europe, let's put it that way, that are cheaper than these. So just to have some notion about that, this pen costs about the same as a Pelikan M200, and the Pelikan M200 is made of plastic, not metal. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, not that. I'm just saying that you have that similarity in price, although one is plastic, so a cheaper material than this one, also with a steel nib. Some people say this should have a gold nib, but I think with a gold nib it would be much more expensive, obviously. Okay, this is about the design and the price and the... Okay, another thing that I want to talk about, I had to check my notes here, the ink capacity. So, the ink capacity of this pen is, I didn't measure it myself, so I don't know for myself, but I think I can believe Kaweco when they say this, because if they would try to make us think it was more, they wouldn't say anything, and they state there it is the same ink capacity as an ink cartridge. And you may say it is too small, that ink capacity. But as you can see, here in this pen you can have an ink cartridge that goes there, and you cannot fill it from the bottle, at least directly. This is something that I talked with CEO of Kaweco in Appleboom's podcast, so I can have this kind of insight. So with a cartridge you cannot have the same filling experience as with a piston. You can, if you can refill it from a bottle, if you take a syringe, you take ink from the bottle and you fill the cartridge and put it in. So you can do it that way, but you cannot fill directly from the bottle. And some people want that. And for that, what you have is the Kaweco mini converter. And the mini converter from Kaweco takes much less, maybe 1/3 of the ink a cartridge does take. So what you get in this pen is the same writing experience, the same overall everything, but the same ink capacity. It's almost the same pen, but you have the experience of filling it from a bottle. If you really want more ink capacity, you just need to grab a plastic pen, not a metal one, and you can eyedropper it and use it as an eyedropper. That way you can really have more ink inside. But it's not because it is a piston filler that you have more ink. Once I was reading some comparisons, I don't have that here, so I cannot tell you, but someday I may try to address this topic, is that, for example, Pelikan M800 doesn't take, and it is a piston filler, doesn't take more ink than a long Parker cartridge. So it's not always that obvious that they take more ink. They really look like that, but they don't take more ink than cartridges most of the times. Yes, they take more ink than converters. Okay, that's out of the way. Final thing, they will, not final, but they will make this in more materials, so expect resins, plastics, maybe other metals, and other colors. They told us that they will do it, but they had to start somewhere, and to have more colors and more finishes and more everything at once, it would make a lot of extra cost because of the stock, and I think this part is my opinion. They just need to test the waters and see how this pen sells, and then they can decide what to do next. Now, another thing that I want to say is that I really like, but this is something general about Kaweco Sport pens, is that they follow the vintage look of the Kaweco Sport. So we are going back to the early 1900s, and we have here a pen that is the Kaweco Classic Sport in black. So it is the same regular pen, but made of plastic, ABS plastic, and you can see the kind of design is the same, except it doesn't have a clip. If you want, you need to put a clip on this pen. It doesn't fit well, it's kind of ugly to put this one because it's silver and that one is gold, but I don't have any gold clip here next to me. No, I don't. They are on the other room. Okay, you can have a clip, but it doesn't have a fixed clip. There's something that they told they may do it also without clips, so people can choose. And this pen is it's actually the same kind of design. It just doesn't have the clip, so it doesn't have that extra band there, and it doesn't have the piston, so it doesn't have the extra band there as the Lux version has. And they even had, at some time, I don't think this is available anymore, the Black Classic Sport with the guilloche or guilloche pattern there imprinted on the cap and on the barrel, and you can see it has a pattern there. And I'm saying this is kind of interesting because there are some brands that sometimes try to innovate their pens and to re-release older versions, and they make some adaptations. I'm not against adaptations, but I really have to appreciate what Kaweco does. They really make these pens be amazing with this design, which is very faithful. So I have this guilloche pattern, and I have here a vintage, maybe from the 1940s, 50s, not sure, a Kaweco Sport, a piston one, an older one, and you can see it has the same guilloche pattern imprinted on the cap and on the barrel, and that pen will be used here just for kind of a comparison with the new Kaweco Piston Sport, and you can see they are very, very, very similar. The older one is shorter, a little bit shorter, but everything is kind of the same. You have octagonal shaped cap, you have the same kind of clip. The older one is a little smaller, but it's same kind of engraving. You have the Kaweco Sport written here on the side. Focus. You have the logo on the top. So it's a very similar one, and also you have here the blind cap as you have on the new one. By the way, on the new one, the ink window is kind of bluish. You can't see it now because it's full of ink. And in this vintage one, also the same, but you cannot see it because it's full of ink. Maybe you can see it a little bit there. Focus, 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 please. No, it doesn't focus. Okay, I think it's now. So you have an ink window. It's very, very similar. This one also has a steel nib. So it is a very similar pen. Another thing that they tried to do, and that helped increasing the prices, they talked about that, is that they tried to make this pen the same as this one, so the same size, the same everything. And for that they have to do it the other way around, and it's not let's create a pen that is a piston filler. No, they had the pen and they said, let's make a version of this pen with the same body, and let's just change the inside to be piston filler. So they have to create machinery and molds and all that stuff to make this happen. And I think this is a great result. By the way, the caps on the AL Sport and the piston, they are not interchangeable, which is kind of sad because it would be a way of getting away from the clip if you want it. But I think that's something they will address in the future, but they are not interchangeable, so it's important that you know that. Another thing they had to change is the nib assembly. The nib assembly of the Kaweco AL Sport is the nib is called the 060, which is a number 5 nib, but it defines the size of the feed. And the new ones, I have one extra here, it is the 090 size, and the 090 size is a different kind of unit, and you can see the nib is the same size. They're not the same. One is gold plated and one is, I guess, fine, and the other one is extra broad, but you can see this one has a O-ring there, it is gray and it is shorter, and that's one thing that they needed to do. They need to make it shorter so the pen would have the same dimensions. Because of the piston to reach to the bottom of the ink chamber, they need to make it shorter. So if you want to exchange nibs like these, just by screwing and unscrewing, you need to buy these nib units. You cannot use the older ones because they will not fit. But if you want, and I showed that on the unboxing so you can check it, you can come here, you just pull the nib, extract it, and put the nib inside this pen. So you need to keep, for this pen, you need to keep the nib, this nib housing. Oops, I was out of camera. So you need to keep this nib housing, and you need to keep the feed. You just exchange the nib and you're good to go. You can do it perfectly. So I guess this is almost everything that I wanted to talk about. And what else? So this is maybe not for the crazy people about Kaweco, but just for a size comparison, because you already know this is the Kaweco Piston Sport, this is a Parker Centennial Fold for size comparison, and this is a Lamy Safari All Black. And you can see that the Kaweco is the shortest of them all. It is a pocket pen after all, but you can take the Lamy, you can uncap it, and it's not meant to be used posted. You can uncap the Parker Centennial Fold, is not meant to be used posted, and you have the Kaweco Sport, and it is meant to be used posted. And like that, you have a pen with the same overall size as the other two. So sometimes people say, but Kaweco is too small. Maybe it is a little thinner there in the section where you hold the pen. For me, it's perfectly comfortable. I like it, but it may be thinner. But a small pen, no. Kaweco is not a small pen. It's not a big pen, but Kaweco Sport is not a small pen because it is meant to be used posted. Because it's meant to be used posted and the dimensions are the same, they couldn't have the piston filler there. They need to have this thing, or it's more advisable, because if they have the blind cap, it is easier to have these, you see, it would catch inside and then you would unscrew and you have ink spilling all over the place. So this protects the filling system itself, and in another way it is more faithful, where is it, to the older version. Just to show you some comparison, so let me just also show it open like this and posted, and let's get the AL Sport for real comparison. So you have the same size, and this is the older Kaweco Sport, and this one is different. Did I show it that it has also the piston beneath blind cap? I don't remember anymore. So you can take this out and you post it. It doesn't post as deeply. It posts securely. This one does post securely, but not as deeply, and it is much bigger than the current Kaweco Sport. Then other versions from the 60s and the 70s, also piston fillers, were shorter and slimmer, but these older ones were really big ones. So this is it. I will now show you how it writes, but before, I just want to ask you a question. Be free to answer on the comments below, because this may be interesting to know. Do you want me to compare the, where is it? Do you want me to make, you know that sometimes I make those comparison videos, the versus. Do you want to make a video, the Kaweco Piston Sport versus the Sport Lux? Or do you want a versus video, the Piston Sport versus the AL Sport Regular? Or do you want a versus video between these two pens, the vintage Piston Sport and the newer Piston Sport? So let me know in the comments below, and now let's go for the writing sample. Okay, here we have the pen and paper, and let's just start. Let's post this. In the hand, the size is very comfortable. It lays there, so it's very nice. The weight is great. I think this is really great pen. And let's start it. This is the Kaweco. Let me see if the camera focuses that. Kaweco. My handwriting is getting worse and worse. The Piston Sport Aluminium Black. It will be available in other colors in the future, I think, with gold trim, also available with gold trim, and it has a fine steel nib. The ink inside is the Kaweco Royal Blue. And what else? The paper is the Rhodia dot pad, as usual. About the nib, this nib is very smooth. So I'm not sure if they did anything regarding other nibs, but I find this one really smooth. But I actually don't complain a lot about Kaweco nibs as some other people do. But I really think this one is kind of perfectly tuned. I'm not sure if this one is better than the average or not. I'm just saying this is really nice one. So it writes beautifully with a fine line. I would call it a fine line. It is moderately wet, because Kaweco nibs are not usually very wet, and Kaweco ink is not also very wet. The writing, it doesn't really have any line variation, but if you press it harder, you can have a little, but you're pressing really too hard to be comfortable. I forgot to bring here the book that I use for my quotes, so I don't have a quote to put there to show you. But I just wanted to, so I will go with the Fox stuff, and I don't remember even how it is. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and it writes perfectly. It doesn't skip. It is very comfortable. I really like this pen, and I have to say that I'm not a piston pen guy. I prefer cartridge pens. That's the way I prefer to use them. But this one is a piston filler, and I really like it. So I've been using it since I received it, and I really enjoy it. It can write upside down, but it gets scratchy and dry. So this is it. Someone asked me to do something. I'll try to do it. If it doesn't go well, it's my viewer's fault. He said, I would like to see the review with both nibs. So shall we do it on real time just to see? So I will just use this because I don't like to have my fingers full of ink. So I will unscrew this. I never did that with a pen full of ink. Where do I put it? Let me put it here, aside. You have to be careful when you do this so you don't lose that rubber ring that you have there. So let me put the B nib inside, and I guess it will not write right away because the ink didn't reach the saturated feed or the system. Let me see. So this is no, it didn't. I think it's kind of normal. I would like to have a paper tissue here so I could, let me get it. Let me try. So this may not work like this. I don't know. Okay, ink is already there. This is the first time I do such a thing. So this is the Kaweco. This nib is not for me. The Kaweco Piston Sport Aluminium Black GT with a fine nib. So you can see the big difference in ink. Let me just do that. The size of the thickness of the line, it's awfully large. I don't really love this kind of stuff. So maybe it's a little stubbish, and I don't see much difference with pressure. Let me try also to write upside down, and yes, this one writes better upside down, very smooth, and I think this is kind of similar to an F. And let me see the wetness, and we can see that it puts a lot more ink on paper. No baby's bottom, anything. This BB nib is awesome. It's great. It's just not for me. I don't love this kind of stuff. It's crazily thick, but you can see it works. So overall, 173 euros. I think it is worth it. It's not inexpensive. I think it's worth it. It's something that everyone was asking for, and if you want a really good piston filler, I think this is it. I never tried it for a long time. It's only for a week maybe. So that's what I get, but this is my honest review. Of course, I know that you know that I always like Kaweco pens. It's not because they send me some stuff for review, it's because I really like and collect them, even before they did that. So it's not, I'm not trying to say good things because they help the channel with stuff for review, but because I really like Kaweco brand, sometimes I may be partial to them because of my personal taste, not because of Kaweco. Just to leave this there. So if you want this pen, if you wanted this forever, get it, because I think this is what you want. But if you prefer to have another finish, maybe you can wait a little bit and try to see what they come out with. If you don't care that much about the kind of finish, get this one, because I believe with the better the sales are, the better are the chances for them to have more models and more variations. And so this is all. This was a very, very long review, but I think there is a justification for that. If you want to make those pen comparisons, please let me know. By the way, let me just say something. They told me that this pen is not meant to be serviced by the user, so no taking apart the piston. That's something not to do. Kaweco told me, I asked them that specifically. So Again, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you keep coming to my channel for more videos like this. So see you the next time. Bye.